It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized in this. Get right on it, Chief.
Skinner, but Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime-fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
NFL quarterback to Hollywood, to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX. This is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody clapping out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat. I'm old Alan Autry, and my pronouns are frick and frack, and I am so honored and humbled to have you with us today on Free for All Friday. Oh, my goodness. TGIF, but I love Fridays in general. End of the week, you know, you can review your week, say, yeah, you know, I had a pretty good week. You kind of add it all up, or hey, I didn't have so good week, but I got the weekend to get ready for Monday next week. It's a really good day for me. I don't know about y'all, but I've always loved Fridays. Used to be where I could go top what did Bongino, Jeremy, call a beer, a barley soda?
Yeah, barley soda.
I used to open a few barley sodas. Don't do that anymore. I've been 35 years since I did that, but I do to relax and kick back, and it's just a great day, old Friday. And it's even more special because I get to welcome my good friend and quasi de facto family member, anyway, Dane Pruitt, who is the significant other of my sister-in-law, Jan Snyder, who is the sister of my lovely wife, Kimberly, who's been here on Free for All Friday and will be returning shortly. You've been asking where she is. She's been working through some challenges, and she's going to be back. But welcome, Dane.
Thank you, Alan. It's great to be here.
So fondly referred to as the mouth of the South, and you're going to get to know this guy here in the next hour. And you already know the dude who on social media, you saw him slip in.
I've been here the whole time. I identify as being here earlier.
Late. You don't have to identify as being late. We all know. But Guillermo Marino, those of you who listen to KXEX, thank you to all of you, but especially our loyal listeners who know Guillermo very well. How long have you been on the air?
Gosh, I think I'm starting my 5th year.
So you started when you were 12?
Yeah. Almost.
Yeah. You can look at how youthful he is. You're like, what, mid-30s now?
It's running. It's the 4 miles.
So you're a millennial. What end of the spectrum are you? Are you an old millennial? Do some
younger millennial.
Now, do you want that to be the case, or is that really the case? When do millennials? I heard millennials actually start at like 26 and go up to like 40. Huh?
Hey, boomer.
Hey, we'll get to that later. All right, here he goes. He's already started. The first words out of his mouth is to go after me.
Hey, old guy.
Folks, email, back me up here, man. I'm getting assault. I could sue you both for that, for ageism. In fact, Jeremy, excuse me, can you get me the forms? I would like to come in and fill one out now. I'm going to own this station after today.
Yeah.
It won't take much.
You'll be behind here, and I'll be coming in late. Oh, folks, but first, let's go to Guillermo. Then we're going to go to Dane. Dane's got some great things going on. And those of you who go way back on the show, remember Dane used to call in regularly.
I do remember.
Built up a pretty healthy fan base, brother.
Well, it's this accent. It's hard to mistake. I'm a pilot, and I can be flying across the country. I'll get on the radio and call air traffic control, and somebody will call back and go, "Dang."
Yeah, they do you to you.
They do me to me. So
yeah.
It's, and then my flight instructors, they started calling me Lieutenant Dane.
I like that.
You ain't got no legs.
Well, I fondly refer to him as the Daninator. So, hey, Guillermo, let's kick this off, and then we'll get into some subjects today. But the big elephant on steroids in the room is Big Tuesday coming up.
Yeah, Big Tuesday.
Every talk show that has anything to do with politics, I'm not talking about B95 here in town. Bless their hearts, they do their thing. Not going to hear them talking about the midterms.
They might.
They just still think that's when they got stressed out during college.
That's very true.
That's what still midterms mean to them. They have no idea.
Very true.
That's coming up. But we're going to have a show Tuesday night. Tell the folks about the full wall-to-wall coverage that you have planned.
Yeah, election night coverage Tuesday from 4 to 9 p.m. 4 to 9 p.m. We're going to be breaking down hour by hour maybe not every single race, but the big ones, the most important ones. Polls actually close across the nation beginning at hour 4 p.m. So you're not going to want to miss it. Everyone on social media will be right here, same place, same time. You can also watch on Dish, cable as well, and local television 43.2.
And go. Why don't you give a list of the anchors that are going to be anchors?
Well, the best one. I just it's such an honor, Alan, to have Jim Franklin on. To be one of the main anchors.
You are just.
And then
I tee that up. I tee that up for you. Then you hit me in the head with the driver.
I gotta see it.
I tee it up, and you just take that driver and hit me right upside my head. And Franklin of no less. You'd have to give Franklin top billing.
I think he kind of hit you more like a hammer in the head.
All right, no Pelosi jokes. The mouth is really ready to go there. I completely disavow any connection to him and Guillermo when they start talking about these Hammer and MC Hammer, changing it to Paul Pee Hammer, all that stuff. That's not me. I'm telling you, that's not me. But you got Jim. That's great. When's he going to be on?
Jim will be on early, so he's going to do his show live at 3, and then he'll join me at 4. And then you're coming in at
6.
6.
Yeah.
6.
Then we
have Larry Powell.
Larry Powell's going to be here
the whole time.
The whole time.
And then Sivak Tatyozian.
Gotcha.
And Eric Rollins.
The Constitution.
He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be here.
Who do you think's going to be the most puckered that night of that group?
Oh, man.
Who's the bigger? Who's the stronger, more staunch American that's sitting there going, "Oh, red wave, oh, please."
Eric Rollins.
I think so too.
Eric Rollins for sure.
I'm going to be puckered, but Eric's is going to be. You might not be able to stick a pin up there, with Eric. He might spontaneously combust if it goes blue here in the studio.
Very true, and I anyhow, there's so much to break down, Alan.
Yeah,
the 4 hours is going to go by actually 5 is going to go by super duper fast. So much to talk about, so much to break down.
Well, all right, then let me ask you this: staying with the midterm theme for right now, this segment, we've talked about it on the show, and you hear it pretty much every election. You hear phrases such as this: "The biggest election of our time." The future of our country riding on this election. Every election, you hear that kind of rhetoric. And to a certain extent, there is a lot riding, especially federal elections, who make the rules. They're the ones, the big kahuna. Local stuff is important, but all politics are local, as Tip O'Neill said. And when you're talking about electing people or kicking people out of office from an institution that has the ability to take your children and send them off to war, you need to be interested. It is a big thing.
Yeah.
There is a lot at stake with every single election. But this one, in my estimation, I've seen a lot in my 70 years. I started paying attention when I was about 15, ironically enough. I don't know why. I guess as after Kennedy got shot, when I was 12, the political aspects of that, that whole generation became a little more interested in things. But I do believe there's a lot of truth that this could really set the direction of this country for the better or for worse, depending on what happens Tuesday night. What's your thoughts?
Quite that. These elections been going on in our country. We had midterms, beginning of our country. There's been change in school, As I said earlier, you boomers, in the 60s thought it changed the country. 70, when 2 years of Nixon, Reagan.
People on the left said Reagan's going to blow up the world, nuclear war.
Blow up the world, and things like that. Clinton in 92, when the Democrats took back the House after 12 years of Republican. Clinton had a 2-year Democratic Congress. Same thing under Bush. Just a cyclical thing. Yes, is this an important election? Biden has had a Democratic Congress, and they're able to push their agenda and get a lot of things that they wanted done also. But it's important to have checks and balances in our government.
And you don't really have a lot of that now.
And right now,
with the Democrats controlling,
they're going along the January 6th committee, all of that sort of stuff. Nice to have some change at the federal level in Congress. Pull back and maybe start moving ahead. Forget about the past. Election's over. Looking forward, moving forward. We've got high inflation, unemployment, we've got crime issues. There's issues out there that need to be addressed other than what happened in 2020.
Your thoughts?
No,
Guillermo.
No.
No, you're not going to answer. Or
Maybe.
No, it's not. Or no.
I'll answer. So I don't believe that this is the most, and I know people are going to get all mad at me. What are you talking about? You're crazy. Don't you have eyes? Don't you see what's going on? Do I think this is the most important election of our lifetime? Probably not. I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. It can be, depending on the outcome. It can be the most important election of our time. So how do you know? You won't know. That's why you need to go and vote. But here's the reality that I think it needs to set in right now. And I said this yesterday. It's all going to come down to the United States Senate. All right. The House is already going to be in Republican hands. Whether it's going to be by a lot or a little, it really doesn't matter. It's really going to come down to the United States Senate. If the Republicans take both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, the Republicans will control the legislative branch and the judicial branch of government. The Democrats will only control the executive. The executive branch has a lot of power, folks. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have a divided government. Really a divided government. I mean, we have a divided government now, but I mean, the Republicans are not going to be able to get anything done unless they take both houses. And even then, it's going to be pretty tough to get anything done. So that's why I don't believe it's the most consequential election of our lifetime. 2024 is going to be a lot more important than this. Now, with that said, let me tell you this: if the Republicans do lose, then I think this could just continue down the downward spiral, and then this will be the most important election of your lifetime, because you can't give them the same amount of power that they have, or even give them even more seats. So that's my two cents on the infamous, this is the most important election of your lifetime.
Yeah, well, I disagree with both of y'all strongly. Respect your positions, but I have never seen our country, and there's people older than me still around, and they're almost to a person saying they've never seen anything like this. The World War II generation, they've seen difficult times. They see a country divided, as you said, during Vietnam and the Watergate situation. We have never really seen the real angry, bloodthirsty fox get completely inside the henhouse. We've been able to stop them a little bit, literally close with good policy. You literally have insane policies that if they're not stopped now, these folks, the woke left, are going to feel so emboldened. Do you realize we are $31 trillion in debt? And if it wasn't for Joe Manchin, there would be another $10 trillion on top of that. It's literally, you're seeing what's happened with the interest rates that are going to no soft landing here, folks. It's going to devastate this economy.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to buy anything. Wages are gone up. $7.3 trillion, and Trump has a lot to do with this. Oh, well, he knocked out this COVID relief bill, because that's what we're feeling now, the $7.3 trillion phony money into the environment, into the system. And you have an ideology that said, we're going to pay you to stay home and to eat Captain Crunch and play video games. And you saw what that did to the economy and the spirit of the country. You saw then no workers available because they're going to stay home. Why work when I can make more staying home? Businesses then had no workers, so they had to jack up wages to a point where their businesses are just barely hanging on. That added more to inflation. Then on top of that, he says he's going to forgive $400 billion worth of student loan forgiveness, which is going to go back into an already overheated economy. I don't know if you saw Jerome Powell, but Jerome Powell was I'm kind of a big fan of his because, he's supposed to be out there saying it ain't that bad. He's supposed to be backing up the administration. And he's looking in the camera going, folks, you better take this serious. And he's been around a long time, have never seen anything like this. They raised it another 75 basis points. You're seeing interest rates on the way to 10%. This is Jimmy Carter stuff, gas lines, 10 to 12% interest rates, inflation. Then you have stagflation coming in, which has destroyed countries. It was inflation, out of control inflation that brought down the Roman Empire. Just do a little studying, folks. It wasn't wars that brought down, it was their monetary policies. And then you have these folks that think you should put the criminal first, that you have guys like Fetterman that wants to let a third of the criminals out of prison. He wins. They retain control of, meaning this woke left movement. It's going to be 2/3 of the prison population. This is how they're going to read it. That they have a mandate. They could barely squeak by. They view it as a mandate. That's what they did here. Then you're going to see court packing to ensure that they never have to share power with the big, bad conservative Republicans again. They've been in the public school system where they're teaching racism to our kids. That fox has been in the hen house for about 20, 30 years. We're seeing the destruction before our eyes of the public school system. We're seeing the corporate America in the back pocket of these woke left. And you're going to see, thank God for Elon Musk. And you see what he's going through. But, just speaking his mind and doing things a little bit different, like in America, the radical idea of having free speech. You see what he's doing. So you're seeing basic fundamental tenets, free speech, the right to have public safety, your neighborhoods to be patrolled, every neighborhood, regardless whether you're affluent or not. And my goodness, you look at everything that we're facing and imagine that even more so, this country simply cannot withstand it. It can't withstand it. The economy is going to go to destroy. And I don't think that's being hyperbolic. I think you just look at where we are now. And that's why I think it is, without doubt, to me, and I think there's a lot of folks that, agree with what you all are saying, but a lot of folks agree with what I'm saying. You just look at the myriad of issues, fundamental issues that this country is based upon, under attack successively by a well-funded, powerful movement called the woke left. And it's going to be like a starving dog in a meat house if they retain the House and the Senate and the presidency. Because we saw what Joe Biden could do in 2 years. Yeah. He did what China couldn't do to us in 70 years.
So here's the key.
Destroy our economy.
Here's the key. You believe it's the most important election of our lifetime. Me and Dana are like, it kind of is. But what does the overwhelmingly majority of the American people believe? And I think, it's kind of funny because you started out with the B95 crowd. They don't even care about voting. And I think at the end of the day on Tuesday, our voter turnout's probably not going to be more than what, maybe 50% nationwide.
I think it'd be a big turnout.
Maybe. I think big would be 55. Yeah, maybe 55, 60. But the key is, does America really believe this is the most important election of our lifetime? And I don't think I think Americans I think the majority of them just don't care about politics.
Thank God for me. I look at the demographic. Dane and I were talking about this. Really show the demographic. They've been able to break this down with pretty much certainty. They're able to do that nowadays. I don't know how they do it, but they're able to define the demographic that wins an election or loses an election or cumulatively does so. And they have all of the analysis, all of it. You really can't find, I haven't found one that came up with any other conclusion other than the demographic that won the election for Biden against Trump was white suburban women. They voted overwhelmingly for Trump in 2016. They left Trump. Over 20-something% of them left him, went to Biden, and that was the difference maker. More so than the African-American turnout, the Hispanic turnout, because for some reason suburban white women vote. They don't miss elections. Now that 20%, if you trust the polls, have come back now to the Republican Party. I think they see it because they see what's being taught to their kids.
Yeah.
They see that as they go to the store out here at Vons or Kroger's or Safeway, and they take their lives in their hands and they're assaulted, left under no friends that were assaulted. And they said, this is out of control. And what are the leaders doing? They're saying defund the police and no cash bail for this guy. They live in this world and they've never seen anything remotely like the chaos they are having to live under, because they're messing with the kids as well. And you can make bad policy for us. So I think, thank God for them that they can see, the enormity of what's at stake in this country. And hopefully that they're going to be the ones, because there's going to be, I think, the ones that get that, how important this election is, that it really is the most important election. You got a Ukraine war raging, and we're the warmongers. Billions of dollars that we can't afford going over there every day. This country cannot sustain it much longer. Well, give me some feedback on that, suckers. In your face, sucker.
I think people are just worried about Thanksgiving. I think at
Worried?
this point,
They're trying.
Can I afford a turkey this year?
Yeah, that's what they care about, Alan.
But they can't. Is that a big thing?
Inflation, and you know what you're talking about is the the suburban housewife, whatever. So you're saying Mama Bear is scared now, and she's wanting to go change the. Political...
I'm talking about the 20-year-old mother that had her 1-year-old daughter in her arms that was violently assaulted last night. No cop around, no there. And this woman who has a rap sheet a mile long was allowed to be out on the streets. That's who I'm talking about.
Let's get radical with our thieves then and start chopping hands off like they do in the Middle East. I mean,
I like Dane. We would have a lot less thievery going on.
If you want to be hard on crime, go to Sharia law or whatever.
Why not just keep them locked up like we used to?
Okay. Or
how about a radical idea? If not that, the chopped hands.
I know I'm being just a little sarcastic about that.
I know what you said, but why not keep them locked up like you're supposed to be?
It's kind of like the homeless problem too. When I was growing up, in my hometown, if there was a homeless guy that was kind of an outsider transient coming through town, the police picked him up and kindly escorted him to the edge of town and made it where he didn't want to come back.
Or at least you took him in.
Or you put him in jail and gave him three hot.
Who was the drunk Andy Griffith show? They kept bringing
Otis. But he wasn't.
We're gonna get some bail on that one.
He wasn't a transient homeless. He was a local.
He's just a local. He's a local. Go and spend the night.
There's a difference.
Let's go to Amanda. Jeremy, can you put Amanda on? She's got a comment on the woke left in the election. Amanda, are you there?
Hello.
Well, hello, Amanda. How's it in Las Vegas today? Is it still hot?
It is cold, and I like it.
There you go. Keeps those people in the casinos.
Yeah.
Casino bosses love that. Well, what's on your mind, dear? Thanks for calling.
Well, you're welcome. I have a question, though, or a comment. With the woke left and everything they're trying to do, they want to get people to follow them, get over to their side, but that insulting the people that are Republicans or Democrats or whatever other party you are besides Democrat does not help their effort.
Their effort. You mean how they're doing it? How they're trying to persuade?
That you're trying. If you're
sorry,
the X is really bad. If I'm trying to get someone to go over to the party, I'm going to be insulting them. It seems to me that never.
Yeah, Amanda, you're really breaking up, but I think I got the gist.
Hillary Clinton has been.
Yeah. You're gonna have to. We're having technical difficulties. We're barely been able to make it. But I think I got the gist of your question, Jeremy. You can go ahead. We're not going to be able to. Amanda, look, I didn't cut you off because I didn't want to listen to you. Obviously, I think we just had technical difficulties here. But I think what you were saying is the left are trying to influence here now more people to come to their line of thinking, and how they're doing it is not good. It's running people away, but by bringing in Obama. But I would put forth this to you guys here and help Amanda out. When you think about it, and I'm not being mean, I'm not being actually political. I'm being politically analytical. Take party out of it. Just analyze it. You have nothing in this administration outside of you're able to spend a bunch of more money on infrastructure. Spend a bunch of money on COVID. There's nothing positive that you could go to. There's nothing there. Except, hey, we were the administration that spent more than any other administration in history. That's one of your moniker. So you're left with having two strategies: lie about what you've done and try to say bad is good for you, and then demonize the other party and say, you think it might be bad here, but be patient because you get these other guys and it's going to be worse. You're not going to have any personal rights. So in order to do that, you got to reach into your team and bring off the bench probably the best equipped liar that you have, because you're going to have to lie about everything. And that's when they got Obama. He looks better lying than when Joe Biden lies. He doesn't when he eats an ice cream, he doesn't let it dribble down his chin. He walks into a room, he's got that electric glide. He's got the big smile with the teeth. He tells the story, sounds like a preacher doing it. Let me tell you about these folks. And proceeds to tell a string of lies. I mean, and then you hear on The View today, one of the people there saying that if the suburban housewives that we're talking about going back to the Republican Party is like roaches going back to a can of Raid. And I think that's what Amanda is talking about. You think that's going to get a suburban housewife or a suburban woman in general to go, oh, man, I didn't know I was a roach.
Yeah.
I better change to the local level. Okay, I'll unleash you guys. Go.
You're not stupid for thinking. You're stupid for thinking like me. You know, that's kind of the attitude to me, especially. I mean, you brought up The View. Perfect example of the stupid for not thinking like me.
It really is.
Yeah, it goes. Go ahead.
Well, I think The View did us a big favor because who watches The View? Suburban women and political junkies like us. So, but suburban women watch The View, so they did us a huge favor. I mean, they literally called their viewers roaches. That's so insulting and so out of touch. But
and can't you spin that? I mean, just think about this for a moment, because this is what the woke does when somebody on the right makes a stupid butt statement like this. You know, they'd say, "Well, look, that is so loaded. That is so loaded of anti-Semitism, xenophobia, because you know what Raid does, what you do to an insect, you exterminate it. Isn't that what Hitler did? He wanted to exterminate the Jews. So you're talking about exterminating white suburban. That's how they would unpack this.
They would unpack that, and then you know, bring up a whole new level of all the anti-Semitism talk in this country. There's a lot of anti-Semitic talk being played in the media.
Why? She didn't have enough sense to not go there on that exact point with this Kyrie Irving thing going on, anti-Semitic.
Kanye
Come
West,
on.
Kyrie Irving.
You know, this hits close to home. Let me tell you what I'm talking about, folks. And Amanda, thank you for that question. Sorry, we'll get the technology fixed up, won't we, Grandma?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is my wife, Kimberly. She's her own person. She thinks her own mind. She has some beliefs that are conservative, some that are liberal. She's her own person. The Green family were brought up like that. You know, you speak your own mind, come up with your own feelings. They, you know, their mom and dad had their beliefs, strong beliefs, try to pass those down, but never to, hey, you don't think like that sort of thing. She watches The View. Okay? She likes the people there. For the last year, she's yelling at the TV.
Yeah.
She's saying, Joy, that is so stupid. Why did you say that? Whoa, God, these women. Why did you say this? That's over the line. Boom, 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 boom. And she loves the show and likes the people there. And that's who because she's a what? She's a suburban white woman.
Yeah.
That doesn't appreciate being compared to a roach because she may vote for somebody else. Go ahead.
I'm going to insult you. Professional media
welcome
stars,
to the club.
But you know they, those women are up there trying to create ratings and controversy, so they'll get more views. And maybe like Gutfeld on Fox News late at night was raking them over the coals. So maybe somebody will tune in the next day and watch them because y'all know if you don't get views and listeners, you don't get to continue on.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're right. That's
why
right.
That's why I think they are staging controversial comments to put out there in society.
But go ahead.
And I'm from Arkansas. I mean, there's a misnomer that all Californians are left woke liberals. It's just kind of a general conception. But I have to remind people. I said, look, Ronald Reagan was from California. He's one of the starchest conservatives there is. But, everybody wants to just,
they'll tell you, well, that was in the 60s. The state's changed.
Well, true. I mean, you got Nancy Pelosi and you got Schumer and you got Feinstein. You've got some wackos and they're in high positions.
Yeah.
So, and they're pushing their left-wing woke agenda.
And I think that's the question, Guillermo, is in connection to to Tuesday night and Amanda's question, because that clearly is the tack that they're taking. Lie about the record and demonize 50% of the country. That you can somehow make them, those that are considering voting for someone who does not believe in out-of-control inflation is good for America and all the stuff and want law and order. Do you think it's going to be effective? Because I get what they're trying to do. They've given up on any Republican coming over, even a moderate Republican. You're not going to get, you might get Adam Kinzinger. You might get Liz Cheney. You probably will. But is it not the strategy to stimulate the base, to get the turnout? Because I think they're sensing, and everybody's sensing, that a lot of Democrats don't like what's going on. Now, they can't make themselves vote Republican. They're that steeped in their ideology and their parties. So they're not going to go and vote, for the Republican challenger in their particular district. But they might just stay home. And I think the Democratic leadership is very fearful. They do the internal polling, that they're just not inspired to go out. And they're using that same tactic. They were able to get a great, big, huge turnout, unprecedented in American history in terms of voting, by using that strategy to demonize Trump during the last election. So it worked then. The question is, because they're trying to do the same thing, will it work now to stimulate their base? Can they basically, they're saying, remember how much you hated Trump? Remember that guy, you couldn't wait to get to the ballot box? Remember the orange man cometh and you hated him so bad? It's on the ballot now. You got to get that same anger, that same hate, and go out and vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. And I think you heard that on The View. I think you keep seeing that. But when you think about The View, those ladies haven't changed any of their views, and they won't change any of their views. Nothing ever changes on The View, viewpoint-wise. Now, you're starting to see the same playbook come out because it works. I mean, that's what won them the day. That's what carried them to the game. Here's the other problem that I think. They all believe, Joe Biden and this woke left and the Democrat Party, they believe that they are the ones that can solve everything. They are the ones that know everything. That's why they walk around and make statements like that. Like, oh, you guys are roaches. You guys they believe that they know what's right for America. There's no humility in it. You listen to her statement. You listen to Joe Biden. Their whole tactic is, you guys are dumb. We know what we're doing. We're in charge. You need to leave us in charge because we know how to fix it. That's their mentality.
No, I disagree. I don't think they want to solve and fix anything. They want to keep the destructive policies going forward to destroy this country. Barack Obama started it.
I don't think so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They believe this should
they're
be.
Not intentionally trying to destroy
I agree with
I
James.
disagree 100%.
They're not intentionally doing it.
I believe trying to destroy this country. They're intentionally trying to make themselves wealthy.
Well, the only way you do that is by destroying the country.
Well,
you don't let free-thinking people. You don't become energy dependent. When you're energy independent. You don't try to tell people inflation is good. If you believe that America is fundamentally, systemically racist, irredeemably racist, that it can't fix itself, that the systems are not in place to fix itself because they're so corrupt, the election process is so corrupt, the electoral college should be done away with, all of this stuff needs to be done away with, burnt to the ground, and start over. I'm telling you, if you don't see that with this movement, that's why it is the most important election in the history of this country, because of that craziness to destroy America and start over with this Marxist ideology, this godless, secular country that they want to rebuild with God completely out of the equation, where the anointed intellectual few rise to the top, just like Marxism does, the fundamental tenet. If you don't believe that's their agenda, I believe this country's in deep, deep trouble. I think you make a good point. The generations behind these boomer generations, because us boomers get it. We get it. We've seen it. In 10, 15, 20 years, as Dr. Thomas Sowell said, there is a point of no return. You keep going this way and you let Iran get a nuclear bomb, the whole dynamic changes.
You don't think Iran has a nuclear bomb?
No.
Okay.
I think they got the capability. They're getting close. I think we're all. I think they're very close, Dane.
I don't believe that, and I've said this before. I don't think, and I think Dane will agree with me. I don't think Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chucky Schumer, all the lefties wake up and say, "I want to destroy this country because I hate it so much. I absolutely cannot stand America, and I want to watch it burn." I don't believe that the left is that. They don't hate the country. They hate the country, but
that mindset is not what is leading the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, I'm going to look right in camera right now. You have to wash your hands of this woke left movement. They are destroying your party. You're not going to have a party left. All of the free thinking, and I'll put Schumer in it. He knows better. No, he doesn't want the country. They're running scared, like scalded dogs from the AOCs of the world, the Lawnmowers of the world, the corporations are. Why? Because they don't want to be accused of being homophobic, transphobic, misogynist. Every time you turn that if you don't believe science is racist, if you don't paint Black Lives Matter down the middle of Broadway, you don't give in to this crazy, insane ideology. That's what's happened. The Republicans were faced with a similar situation back in the 60s. There was a movement called the John Birch Society that was getting great momentum within the conservative party with a lot of radical racist beliefs, off the chart stuff. They had just enough common sense, you thought, to be attractive to some folks. And credit to William Buckley when he came up with a national review, and a group of Republicans that were very powerful told the John Birch Society, no, you're not welcome here. They were able to push that back. If the Democratic Party cannot push back this woke left BLM-led hate America first agenda, which is, I said, well-funded. It's George Soros is on this ballot. Don't kid yourself.
All right, Alan, let's get off of the woke left and talk economics a little bit. How much of the $19.6 billion largest quarterly profit that Exxon has ever made in its 152-year history has been donated to political action committees for the left to put in green initiatives so they can raise gas prices to $4 and $5 a gallon and made a $19.6 billion profit? I mean, yes, some of it is policy, but they're using that green wing deal that, hey, look, it ain't green, it's money. It's
right.
about money. That's why they're pushing their agenda, is because they are making. And the other thing is
you mean the green agenda and the oil companies?
And the oil companies are making profits. The senators are making profits.
Absolutely. The defense contractors.
Contractors. Because I have a personal interest in some of that stuff. But
well, you don't have to worry about a conflict of interest on this show.
Well,
I
was just talking about. There's a little town in Arkansas called Camden, Arkansas, and they are the largest producer of solid rock. Doing exceptionally well right now with the war in Ukraine. War makes profits. Everybody knows that. Look at Halliburton,
Raytheon.
Cheney, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, all of those things. The getting out to vote and getting the message across. How you have to look at how elections are won. It ain't won by the masses and the far lefts. It's won by a few percentages of moderates in the middle that can flip flop either way. Most of these elections are won by 1%, 2%. Local elections. I mean, look at your local elections. People school board races by 1,300 votes total.
Let me ask Guillermo this: do you think the people of Germany, when they elected the lady, her name escapes me,
Angela?
Yeah, and Merkel, yes. In their election, they had an election, and it was the most important election in their history.
Yeah. They might have known it.
And they decided to go full throttle left with the new Green Deal. And you saw one of the world's strongest economies over the course of her term reduced to a unrecognizable version, iteration of what Germany used to be. They got rid of any kind of fossil fuel. They went full-fledged on green energy, where they were 155% compliant on green energy, and it only supplied 3% of their fuel needs. and you see what's going on there. We don't need the Russian pipeline. We're going to do it. You have Germany, a very intelligent country that's been able to come back from ruin from 2 world wars, of which they started. All right. But they were in ruins after World War I. They came back to the Versailles Treaty. They had 490 sanctions on them because they were wise and made good choices, except the Hitler thing you throw in there. And then after World War II, similar things, economy in shambles. They resurrected and came back to be the dominant economy, replacing the UK in Western Europe. And now they're in shambles. In shambles. People are going to freeze to death this winter in Germany because they couldn't say no to this woke left movement, which actually may have started here, but it caught fire in Germany. You want to see our future in 4 or 5 years, maybe less? Just look to Germany. You don't want to live in Germany right now. So we have a working visual example, empirical data, if you will, coming from Western Europe of how dangerous this ideology is and what happens when you embrace it and you jettison common sense and say, for whatever reason, COVID madness or whatever, I don't know what happened to Germany's common sense. They completely lost it.
Same thing in California.
Bingo. No, Dane. Dane, great analogy. You talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're banning gas cars, yet your electrical grid can't afford to handle electric cars.
And by the way, you can't buy you won't be able to buy anything but electric car in 2034, like 19 years.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
I mean, let's do, if you're going to do infrastructure.
Well, it goes back to my question. Is this the most important election in the history of our country? I go deeper into DNA, and I keep getting the same answer. I don't want it to be. I don't want to think this.
Alan,
I want to think this is a passing thing. I want to think that America's patriotism will win out, that common sense will win out, but it hasn't. Common sense has been getting its butt kicked in this country. Stuff you think you would never debate. Whether a kid should be taught that they're a racist by the color of their skin from the day they're born, and the school system saying, we like that.
How about if they can choose their sexuality at 5?
Well, exactly. You can go in and be castrated at 6, and don't tell the parent, because a 7-year-old gets to make their decisions. That's utter insanity on top of being evil.
What's the one going around? It's okay to let kids wear Halloween costumes, but they can't wear a mask because it disrupts the learning process. What have we been doing the past 2 years?
Oh God, you got to laugh through the pain. Hey, we got 2 calls. Let's try to get both of those in if we can. Let's go to Kyle over in Lake County, California. Kyle, are you there? And Laura, I hope you hang on because we've missed you. Kyle?
Oh, hello, I'm here.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
Good. Better than I deserve. If I could wise these 2 guys up here. Just another election. Everything's going to be fine.
Every election's the most important election. Alan.
And this was more important.
This is most important, yes.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. Help me with these 2 guys. The Lord, you give them eyes, but they do not see. You give them ears, but they do not hear. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, well, I was going to say, first of all, if you want to know the destructive power of the Democratic policies and their end game, listen to what Barack Obama said before he left office. The end of the republic never looked better.
Did he say that?
What's that?
Did he say that, really?
Obama said that. And he got a lot of backlash for that. And then he kind of retraced his steps, but he still stands by it.
Yeah, well, he promised that America didn't need to be improved. It didn't need to save the good things in the Constitution and improve on America, on the freedoms. He said fundamentally transform the country. Nothing more fundamental than the Constitution.
Right.
And that's what he went after. That's what he went after.
Great. In the Constitution, not the Constitution, but the Republic. You break down Republic in Latin, it goes to res publica. Res being thing, publica being public. It's Latin, so it's backwards. So it'd be the public thing. Public thing is the Constitution. That is why we are a constitutional republic.
Well, I'm sorry. I think that's on the ballot, brother. I think there's a lot of people that don't believe in a republic, form of government. They talk about, preserving democracy when they really have no interest in that. Well, I appreciate you calling up. Let's go, Kyle. Appreciate those insights, buddy. Appreciate you so much. Let's go to Laura. Laura, you there?
I'm here.
All right. Take it away, girl. You said something on the central bank and how it fits into all of this?
Central bank digital currency. Heard of it?
Kinda.
Okay, well, let me explain it to you because I've done nothing but stay up all night for the last week researching it and spent about 5 hours last night going through a mock-up of how they blockchain ledgers of digital currency.
Okay.
This is absolutely terrifying because neither Republicans nor Democrats have said word one about this, for or against. Let me explain what they're going to do because I read all 213 pages of World Bank's proposal to financial institutions. I will not tell you how I got my hands on it. But you know how banks have to pay FDIC insurance?
Yes.
To protect their holdings?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Central Bank is now offering every single financial institution in the United States of America 100% guaranteed protection of their holdings with unlimited balances at no charge if they will join Central Bank and convert their holdings into digital currency. Now, these banks will also be able to still maintain their full autonomy to all of their normal regulatory things that they do, charge you fees and all that. That will not be interfered with. However, not one single consumer of those financial institutions will be anonymous. The federal government will have unfettered access to every single transaction you make. Furthermore, if you use any type of transactional app on your phone or laptop, such as Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, those apps come embedded with your username and password to your cell phone and your laptop. That becomes a part of your account that is now connected to the financial institution you use to transfer funds, which means the federal government, under this blockchain ledger, the way that it's designed, will now have access to your cell phone data and your laptop. In addition to that, they have decided, the White House is bragging about it, that we will have what they call programmable digital currency, which means in the future, potentially, Guillermo wants to buy a gun. They say, no, we don't want you to buy a gun. Your card is declined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of knew this was coming.
The mark of the beast.
Well, you kind of knew this with the Bitcoin, the whole cyber economy that the government couldn't control. You knew they weren't going to let that happen.
Okay, well, I'm not done because both Republicans and Democrats are on board with this. So what's terrifying is that we found out something that both of these idiot parties have agreed upon. Okay?
Okay, listen, you got 1 minute. You got about 50 seconds left, but I want to pick this subject up next week. But go ahead. When the music starts, we got to wrap it up.
Here's the very last part. Remember how I told you I wondered how BlackRock got their fully autonomous deal in China through Anthony Blinken in 2019?
Right.
Okay, well, guess what? They allow China to surveil and look at all of their transactional data. The only difference is China doesn't get a cut of the money, but they get the surveillance and everything. Well, here's the problem. The largest branch of BlackRock Corporation is in New York City, and they're going to sign on to central bank digital currency.
Wow. Well,
China will have a back door into our financial system.
Well, this is just a tease for more on that subject. We're going to get real deep into it next week. Laura, thank you for calling in. Wow. Dane, Mouth South, thank you for joining us. What a chunk of heaven, buddy.
Man, it was awesome getting to sit here and discuss politics with you out there.
Guillermo, Triple G, Sorrento-lot, thank you for
I'm
joining
glad I got to meet Dane. A pleasure.
Yeah. But are we off? We're hard out?
Hard out, yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye, love folks. Love you. God bless and just do your best. Let God do the rest.